Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Alex Thomas here, back with another video for you guys. Today I'm here with my review of X-Men Days of Future Past, directed by Bryan Singer. And basically I'm going through my X-Men review series. I reviewed every single X-Men lead up to this point. I reviewed the Wolverine films thus far so far. And we're trying to get along, man. I'm reviewing every X-Men movie leading up to Deadpool 3. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. And this is the one I'm very excited to talk about because it's one of my favorites in the franchise. So yeah, like if you guys have been enjoying my review series, if you guys have been enjoying my other videos, my other content, please hit that like button, please subscribe for more. Trying to hit 7,000 subscribers. If you guys can help me out with that, I'd really appreciate it. And enough rambling, you guys, let's get into this video. Let's get it. Let's go. Alright, you guys, like I said, this is X-Men Days of Future Past, directed by Bryan Singer, starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult. Just a large cast. They brought back a lot of characters from the original X-Men, teaming up with the first class cast, and we're gonna get the whole matchup of, you know, future and past. And basically the story of this movie is that, you know, the future that they're currently in is overrun by Sentinels. Sentinels are killing mutants. It's like Judgment Day. It's like the Terminator whole situation going on where, you know, these Sentinels are coming out and killing all mutants and humans, and the X-Men are coming up with this plan to send someone back to when the Sentinels got invented. So they come up with this whole plan to send back Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, because he has the ability to go back decades into when he, you know, goes to Charles and Magneto to stop Mystique from killing Trask, who invented the Sentinels, because she kills him, and that's how they get the DNA to make the Sentinels that they have in the future now. And so yeah, that's basically just the whole story. And right off the bat, I'm sorry to say, but this is probably Bryan Singer's best film. Like, yeah, this is probably his best movie out of his film catalog. The way he balances the new actors and the old actors, even with little screen time as certain actors had. Like we got, you know, the actor who played Iceman. We got Ellen Page coming back. We got, you know, Halle Berry shows up. Of course, we got Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and Hugh Jackman. We got all these characters coming back. Now, plus we got the first class cast with Jennifer Lawrence, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Nicholas Hoult, and some other characters that were in first class. They're coming back as well. And this is like a big culmination of everything they've been setting up from those three movies and even first class, which I do really like that they did that. And I think Bryan Singer did a really good job with the direction. I think all the actors' performances are spot on. I think everyone is great in this movie. I really do believe there's not a single person I don't like performance-wise, even though some of the smaller characters that don't have enough screen time, even someone like Halle Berry, yes, she doesn't have a ton to do, but I think she is good in whatever scene she's in. You know, so directing, I think Bryan Singer did a really good job with the direction. I love the way this movie looks and the way it's shot. I don't have the 4K, but I watched the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray looks fantastic. It does. It looks really good. And yeah, I do like the way this movie was shot. And I think that Bryan Singer did a great job with the direction. And going back into the performances, of course, Hugh Jackman. His Hugh Jackman, man, he is Logan, he is Wolverine. He has solidified as this character. He looks great as the character as always, and he is amazing. He really is amazing. It's crazy. He's always the forefront one, and he's that guy. He really is that guy. Going on with the other performances, I think, of course, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, they're all fantastic. They are all amazing in this movie. They really can't really phone in the performance. I really don't believe they can. Even with how terrible a movie can be, they really can't phone in the performance. They are all amazing in this movie, especially James McAvoy, who was a totally different Patrick Stewart than he was in First Class, than he is in this movie. He's like a broken man. You know, he's kind of a drug addict a little bit. You know, he's gone through a lot within the last 10 years since First Class. And of course, Michael Fassbender is also great in this movie. There's a scene when they're in an airplane and Michael Fassbender is like demanding the air, like just literally controlling the room and just yelling at Charles about how much he abandoned them and how much he turned his back on him, let alone, you know, Magneto turned his back on on Charles' back. And that scene is fantastic. I absolutely love their performances. Like I said, I love their camaraderie. I think they do a really good job in this movie. And obviously the other characters are really good. I think Nicholas Hoult is also good, and obviously Jennifer Lawrence is good as Mystique. This is probably her best performance as Mystique of all the movies for sure, because she actually get to be kind of a bad guy, because we know Mystique as being a bad guy. She kind of is not saying she's the villain, but she is a villain-esque in this movie. Like, she does a lot of things that will, you know, but she's doing it for a cause. That's why she's doing certain things she's doing. And obviously, like I said, this movie takes place in the 70s and it takes place in the future. So we do get a lot of jump cuts from, you know, future, then going back into the past and stuff like that. And I do like that as well. Now, I did want to talk about this as well, because there's two different cuts of this movie, which the cut I watch and the one I would only watch, even though I have seen the theatrical version a lot, is the Rogue cut. Now, you guys see like the first trailers and stuff, they show an image of Rogue. And if you guys have watched the theatrical cut, Rogue is not in at least in the movie entirely. She shows up at the end of the movie. But in the Rogue cut, I think that's the reason why they called it that. But the Rogue cut, there's a different spin on what happens with the Rogue character, how she gets put into the situation. And I'm going to talk about those similarities and what the differences they have within those movies. So I might title this video X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue cut review. I might title the movie, this review, that, because that's the one I watched. But there is certain things added and certain things added to, for at least for me, that makes the movie, yes, a little bit longer, but it makes the movie more complete and it makes sense for what happens. So there's a sequence when right now they have gotten to Raven, and Hugh Jackman sees someone that gives him pain later in his future, and he kind of goes crazy, and he hurts Kitty. He literally hurts Kitty, and she's sitting there bleeding. And in the theatrical cut, she's still able to hold him while she's bleeding out. Like, she's literally bleeding out. And in the Rogue cut, they realize, oh, she can't hold on any longer. There's no way she can keep doing this for as long as they need her. And Professor X, Magneto, and Iceman, Bobby, they come up with a plan, like, who's the one person that can be able to do this and be able to take her power and be able to do this? And they say, oh, Rogue. And Professor X, I haven't been able to contact Rogue. And they say, oh, why? You know why? Because she's at the X Mansion. So there's a whole sequence of them breaking Rogue out of the X Mansion that's completely cut from the theatrical version, which I do like the sequence, and it's also a good send-off for the character Bobby as well. Even though the way they make Bobby go out in the theatrical version is kind of the same way, just in different situations, but it makes more sense for when Kitty is hurt, why he's, she's able to, how Wolverine's able to stay in the past. So they get Rogue out of the X Mansion, and she's able to take Kitty's power, and now she's able to hold Logan. And it makes more sense because Hugh Jackman and Rogue met at the same time, going to the X Mansion at the same time, so they have more of a connection with one another. Of course, all the events of the X-Men movies anyway. So like, there's a scene where she says, "Hi, Logan," and he wakes up and says, "Rogue," and it hits so much better, which in my opinion it does. But that's another credit to, I think, the way this movie is paced, the way the direction is. I think this movie has a decent amount of emotion. The action is amazing as well. And like I said, I love the dialogue between the characters. I think the way this movie is written, I do really like the way this movie is written. And like I said, going back to the different cuts, the cut I prefer to watch, and I will tell you guys to seek out if you guys can find it, is the Rogue cut. That's the version to watch. There's a scene in the movie, in the theatrical version, where Beast asks Logan, "Do I make it?" And it's in a totally different scene in the Rogue cut. It's in a totally different scene. It's not in the scene that's in the theatrical version. And there's also a part in the Rogue cut where Mystique goes to the X Mansion, and because she has nowhere else to go before she goes to Washington, and her and Hank has like a little emotional scene with one another, which I do like the scene. But that's completely cut from the theatrical version. So yeah, if going overall, if I had to recommend a cut, I'm recommending the road cut over the theatrical version. Now, like going back to some of my favorite sequences, like I said, the Quicksilver scene. Like I can't not review this movie without talking about the Quicksilver scene when he was introduced. Obviously, we guys all know the big deal when it came to Quicksilver. Marvel also had a Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, and Kevin Feige and the guys at Fox came up with a deal. It was like, okay, I want Quicksilver in my movie. I have him already in my established, and X-Men wanted to do the same thing, but they had a deal where, okay, you can't mention you can't mention the Avengers, and X-Men couldn't mention, they couldn't mention the Avengers, and Marvel couldn't mention the X-Men or mutants, or that's why they had to call them miracles or something like that. So yeah. And in my opinion, I think the way they do Quicksilver in this movie is better than they did in Age of Ultron. Because I love the way his powers look. He looks like he's teleporting, but he's really just moving really fast. And then when we finally see it from his point of view, everything is like slowed down. So we get the sequence where they're breaking Magneto out of the Pentagon. And it's a great scene. I love the scene. I think the music that he's listening to really makes sense. Which, it wouldn't make sense for him to be able to listen to music unless he has the speed turned up to the speed of him running. Like, I thought about that. I said, how is he listening to music if he's running as fast as he is? He will go faster than the song playing unless he has the song up to a speed that he's at, as the speed that he's going. That's just a little thing I was thinking about when I was watching the movie. But I love the sequence. I think Evan Peters was really good as Quicksilver. He has that very hyper, personality and stuff like that. I really do like that as well. And yeah, another one of my favorite scenes, of course, we get the climax. We get, Magneto picking up an entire stadium and basically closing in everyone in the White House and stuff like that. There's a lot. That's why I say the one thing I love about this movie as well is that I love the way this movie is paced. Like I said, I think the action is nicely spread out. The music, I can't go without talking about the music. I think the music in this movie is fantastic. I love that the music opens up with the way X2 opens up. I remember seeing this in the theater, and me and my boy John were going crazy when they played the X-Men theme. Oh my God, the X2 theme. I'm like, they brought back the X2 theme. They knew exactly what they were trying to do. And that got me hyped for sure when I first saw this movie in the theater. Like I said, just seeing the imagery with Patrick Stewart talking to James McAvoy and stuff like that, that was like, when we were watching it for the first time, that was like, wow, they're actually really doing this. Like, they're connecting the franchise. Because when we first saw First Class, we didn't think that they were going to connect to the original movies. We thought that was going to be like, this is a brand new start. This is a whole new different thing. The first three X-Men movies don't exist in this timeline. And, it's just crazy that, to see that, these older actors talking about these, the newer actors and stuff. I really do enjoy this stuff. And I forgot to talk about Peter Dinklage as Trask. I thought he was good in the movie. He fit his purpose. I think he did a decent job in the movie as well as Trask. I think he was given a decent amount of screen time. I think, obviously the focus was on the actual mission other than him himself. Which I do like. Like I say, he is technically the bad guy, but I like that he's not really like the bad guy. It's more like, the main point of this mission is to stop the events from happening so the future don't end up the way it is. That's the main point of the movie, and I love that. That's the reason why they're doing what they're doing, and they fall through with it. So yeah, overall, I really do enjoy this movie. I actually, like I said, it's my favorite in the franchise. Like I said, this is probably the best X-Men movie we're gonna get until let's see what Marvel does. But this is probably the best X-Men movie we have, not including Logan. I feel like Logan is his own thing. Out of the X-Men movies, this is probably the best one for sure. To me, this is probably Bryan Singer's best movie. I think all the performances overall are amazing. The cinematography is stellar. The music is great. The action is top notch. I enjoy every single character. Is even as a little amount of screen time they have is crazy. I love the way this movie opens. Like, when you see all the X-Men at least the X-Men we see get killed, and then right before everything just disappeared, so like they didn't die because they got, they send Bishop back in time to alert before that happened. And it was crazy seeing that for the first time, seeing all the X-Men just get destroyed like that. It was crazy. But that's the one thing also I love about this movie too, is it keeps you on your toes, especially towards the end where you got Raven and Professor X. They're trying to figure out what to do, and she just finally says, no, forget it, I'm going to not do this, and basically fix the past. And obviously I got to talk about the ending, the final act of the movie, well, at least the last chunk of the movie, the epilogue, if you want to say, when Hugh Jackman wakes up and seeing all the actors back and seeing Scott and seeing Jean. We were going crazy in the theater to see these actors back, as little as they were in the movie, but to see their faces. And like, obviously, not saying they obviously they say they erased the events of X3, and like I said, I like X-Men Last Stand, but the choices that they made in that movie I didn't like. So the fact that they kind of erased those events and we got those characters back was just like, wow. Now, going back to that, I kind of wish they would have ended it with this movie. Like, I kind of wish that this was the final chapter, because obviously we get X-Men Apocalypse and that goes back to the past. So it's like, is that past leading up to the future that we've seen in X-Men Days of Future Past? But it is what it is. Like I said, with the X-Men movies, it's continuity, schmontinuity. Who knows exactly what timeline is what? Who knows what happens with what? Who knows, bro? But overall, like I said, I really do enjoy this movie. I can't think of anything else that I really want to talk about, because like I said, I think I felt like I got all my points out in the front. Any negatives? I can't really think about any negatives at the moment, because I really did enjoy this movie. I really did. I remember watching it, I'm like, man, this movie is fantastic. X-Men Days of Future Past is fantastic. And like I said, the only version I watch is the road cut. I don't really watch the theatrical version, just because now watching the road cut, it just feels different watching the theatrical version. It just really does. So if you guys enjoyed this review, let me know what you guys thought about X-Men Days of Future Past in the comment section below. Which cut have you watched? Have you watched the road cut? Have you only watched the theatrical version? Let me know what you guys, which one you watched in the comment section below as well. More X-Men reviews will be coming in the near future. I hope you guys are ready for that as well. The next one is Deadpool. Even though I have reviewed Deadpool in the past, I'm just going to re-review it just because I'm doing all of them. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I'm very excited to review it because I really do enjoy Deadpool as well. So like I said, if you guys are new to my channel, please hit that like button, subscribe for more. And I'm on this one, you guys. Peace out.